Welcome back to the Four Podmen, the wrestling podcast we bring you each and every week on the Dynamo Podcast Network. Head over to YouTube, smash that subscribe and bell notification. And today we have a very special episode. Joining us today, Mark Kostelny. I hope I got that right, Mark. How are you?
I'm great. How are you guys doing today?
Good, really good. Also joining me, as always, my partner at times on the Podmen, Darren, who is the man who would win the Slammy Award for collectors on this side of the Atlantic without a shadow of a doubt. As you can imagine, this is our Collectors Corner episode, and it's Mark's episode all the way from the windy city, Chicago. I'd imagine not too windy at the moment, probably fairly hot and humid, I'd imagine.
Yeah, thankfully it's raining. It's cooling us down a little bit. I'm actually without AC right now. I'm waiting for a company to come out and give me a quote. So it has been especially painful this week here in Chicago with the heat for me. So
no problem at all. Well, I have a story before we begin for Chicago. Chicago is where I broke my virginity in terms of wrestling manias. I went to WrestleMania 22 in the All-State Arena. But I also attended a very special Hall of Fame there in the Rosemont. The induction of one, of course, Bret the Hitman Hart, and of course the late great Eddie Guerrero. So it was very special to me. I also shared a breakfast buffet with a man close to your own heart, Mark, I'd imagine, Road Warrior Animal.
Oh, okay.
And of course, Sherry Martel. So Chicago has a very special place in my heart in terms of my wrestling history, if you like. Also, I was a huge Ring of Honor fan from 2002 all the way to 2014-15, and still watch it, of course. So I know that Chicago was a serious hotbed for Ring of Honor as well. And I attended a big show out there, WrestleMania week, out in Chicago Ridge, which was absolutely crazy, but a lot of fun. But again, this is your Collector's Corner. So Mark, talk to us. How did you get into wrestling first? When did the fandom and all begin?
I mean, I'm sure like a lot of you, I mean, I was born in the mid 80s. So, I had older brothers and a great grandmother who was really into wrestling. And that was about the time of Hogan and Macho and all those guys. So about that age, I remember my brothers giving me the elbow drop off of the furniture while I'm piled on with a bunch of blankets and pillows. But young age, and I always watched it. As some of those years waning and those high school years, but yeah, very young.
Everyone, I think, has a grandmother who introduced them to wrestling, don't they? It's crazy, isn't it? What was it with grandmothers and wrestling? They loved it, didn't they?
It was wrestling or religion, wasn't it?
Yeah, it must have been.
Yeah. I don't know. My great grandmother was super, super into wrestling. She would watch it in the nursing home when I was a kid. And I've always heard stories since growing up that she was so into it. But, in general, the family. So
awesome. And who were the wrestlers that hooked you now? Who were the wrestlers that got you in full time?
All right. So I'm from Downers Grove, Illinois. Do either of you know who's from Downers Grove, Illinois?
Is it a Road Warrior?
Oh, come on. Anyone.
Go on.
All right.
Enlighten us.
If you don't know who's from Downers Grove, Illinois, it's my main guy, the Macho Man, Randy Savage. He grew up and was born in Downers Grove, which is my hometown. I live in the suburbs of Downers Grove or of Chicago, but I live in a town called Westmont, which is right next door to Downers. So I grew up thinking and believing that Macho Man was my father's best friend. Now, that can't be further than the truth. But here is the truth. My dad grew up and is the same age as Macho. They did play sports together as a kid. My grandfather was in a bowling league with Angelo, his father, and I guess at a time worked security for some of his Midwest promotions. So that's my small connection to wrestling. Some of that I didn't know until I was a later age, but Macho Man, I thought Macho Man was like my dad's best friend. I probably told all my friends that as a kid. So Macho.
Awesome. Awesome. And in terms of now your collection, is your collection a mix of stuff? Are you solely figures? Are you belts? Are you 8x10s, promos, or is it a mix of everything?
It's kind of a mix of ever changing. I really didn't get into collecting until the last 10 years, right? But I kind of started with the Funko Pops. I bought my house 6 or so years ago, and I have a room where I cut hair, which I'm standing in right now. Flip the camera.
Oh, yes.
I see that skateboard deck, all right.
Happy Monday. Oh, yes. Look at that, man.
So just so our viewers know, if you're ever around Chicago and you need your haircut and you're a wrestling fan, this is the place to go.
Look at that, man. That is unbelievable, isn't it?
Yeah. So,
Oh,
you know, long and short about me before we show you like some of the stuff that I have or other questions, you know, I really have just gotten into this in the last, I would tell you 5 years. I've owned this home for about 5 or 6 years, and it kind of started with, all right, I have this room. I'm finally cutting hair. I had my buddy who's an electrician. This room is just like some weird utility room in my basement. It's literally maybe 13 by 8. It had one light in the middle, and it had no outlets when I moved in here. My wife has nicknamed this the murder room because Lord knows what they were doing in this before. This was just a storage room. There, the main water line's in here, but I turned this into where I cut hair, and I was like, gosh, this room sucks. It was literally just this, cement brick room, really ugly. I painted the floor, the cement floor, and the walls to clean it up a little bit. But once I kind of got the electric hooked up and moved my home hair cutting here, which it's few and far between. Love to add new clients, but I started with these belts. I found like a lot of like 12 of them on, I want to say eBay or Facebook Market or something. And it just kind of evolved. I had a bunch of stuff from when I was a kid, but it evolved.
Yeah, I collect Funko Pops myself, and of course so does Darren, but I collect more than just the wrestling ones. And my wife describes them as my heroin.
No.
My wife describes them as my heroin.
Yeah.
Plastic crack.
I admittedly will be telling you I'm getting out of Funko Pops. I made sure to control that obsession and limited it to wrestling. But it got to a point for me about 2 years ago where I was like, I don't even know where I'd have room for these in a bit. They keep coming out with more. So I've sold off a few of them that I regret selling. I sold my pink Macho Man a while ago. I had a vet bill, and it paid like a third of that very expensive vet bill. Yeah. But anyways,
I took a nice box off him as well. I think I got a box of pops delivered from Chicago one day to my mom's house, and was all these different wrestling ones in there, Brock Lesnar and a Roddy Piper and stuff. It was just, and he's a great guy to deal with, you know.
So Mark, how was that decision that day? Macho Man Pop or dog? Macho Man Pop or dog? What was you thinking?
So I love my dog way more than any of this stuff in this room. But it was actually about, April, May last year, and I wasn't working in America. I'm sure over there you guys were shut down too.
Yep.
And although I was like receiving some unemployment benefits here, it was like, oh shoot, man, that's a huge bill. I had like about a $1,600 bill overnight. So yeah. There was a kid, I sold it to a kid from Australia, and I sold it to him for $400. And which I thought was top dollar, because it was. A year later, that thing is worth double that. So a little bit of a regret, but it paid a huge portion. I actually sold, this is true in that same, to help with that dog, that same time I sold my NWO Hogan one, which is my biggest steal of my collection ever. I won an eBay auction for the PS4 Hogan edition box for $60. And so I got this pop, which was worth about $200. I actually ended up selling it to Hulk Hogan's Beak Shop directly. Hulk Hogan had somebody at the shop opened up a box with a knife and destroyed somebody else's. So when I put them out for sale on one of the Facebook groups, somebody from the Hulk Hogan's Beat Shop reached out. So I jokingly have told clients for a while that I sold the pop directly to Hulk Hogan himself, which is probably further from the truth, but you know. Anyways, but yeah, I love the pops, but it became too much. So these are dwindling. But I do have still probably about 40 of them or so. So
cool.
They're never ending, man. You should get out.
Oh man, I was quite late to the pop game. I wasn't early to the pop game, so I'm always playing catch up.
If only it was as easy as saying you should get out, you know? Yeah. Like, I mean, you've seen probably some of my collection, and I'm running out of space at the minute. And every time I think about what I could possibly sell to downsize, you just get that fear comes upon you, and you're like, oh, can't do it, shit. Like, you know, and it's just like, when is that ever going to end? Or, you know, am I going to need a kidney before I decide, like, listen, I'll get rid of these things, like, you know?
It doesn't end. Anyway, Mark, take us through some of the bits you want to show us and stuff like that. And on the way, point out to us, let us know what your favorite piece is in your collection, and obviously what your most expensive piece was in your collection, if you can remember.
Okay, so the expensive one was probably at that time that Macho Man pop. So unfortunately, I don't have that here currently. I think my most expensive overall value, and it isn't crazy, it's the Macho King Hasbro.
Oh yeah, absolutely
lovely,
amazing.
You know, and it's not in the best of condition. It's got some creases and stuff, but that's probably my overall most expensive. I think here they go around the $250 to $300 range. I don't know. I mean, I probably have some stuff in here that's maybe worth more than that. I'm super surprised at how much the wrestling buddies are going for nowadays. One of my, some people would call this a grail piece. And this is probably my overall favorite line, and I'm actually negotiating to get rid of it right now, but Squirt Heads.
Oh yeah, very good.
So recently I found out, I mean, I always knew that he was kind of more valuable, but this is the grail out of this line, the Shawn Michaels. And I mean, they're selling for about $200 and $300 here right now.
Wow.
But so my collection is kind of mixed. You know, it's somewhat for just kind of display purposes. You know, some Austin stuff, some Warrior stuff.
That Warrior Circle thing there, is that a Frisbee?
Yeah.
That's so cool. Look at that.
Yeah, this is here.
It's still in the bubble, is it?
Yeah, it's still perfect.
Wow.
Yeah, here. I actually, there's a guy in America selling these for a very decent price, and I could probably get more of them.
Yeah,
But
no, that's super cool.
there's a Hogan one too.
Yeah.
And I think they teased that there was gonna be a Macho one. There's not. I've done a lot of these. There's not a Macho one, all right?
Just
like a lot, like a lot of the stuff that was made, all right? They made Hogan and Warrior, but not Macho.
Just order an extra box and just cut the skateboard deck into a circle.
There you go. There you go. I already see people reselling these skateboard decks for like $200.
Yeah, skateboard decks are very popular. Crazy.
I know. I wish I would have picked up the other two, but you know, I have a mortgage. So. And I have,
God damn you, mortgage.
You're sounding like a very sensible collector.
Oh, no. I'm not sensible at all. Can I tell you what I've been working on recently, which will clue you in on how not sensible I am? My Hasbro collection.
Oh, good Lord. I know I'm there already with you. Good Lord.
So, okay. Actually, hey, I lied. So my current Grail piece is probably the full set of the mini Royal Rumble figures and ring with guns.
Awesome.
Sorry, I was probably covering the mic there, but yeah, that's probably my favorite right now. I actually have an extra set of 12, the 12, not the 6, not the Macho Man and the 5 other in the ring there, but I have an extra set of those with 6 bases and 2 guns, but no ring. And I was just at a local collectible show in Chicago, and there's a guy that maybe you guys know him in the circles of selling groups. His name is William Dahlman, William White, but he goes by the Dahlman. He's kind of a well-known seller, at least in the Chicagoland area and some of the American Facebook reselling groups. And he had that at a local show, and like that, I was dropping way more money on something than I wanted. But so at this point with the Hasbros, I'm only missing 1, 2, 3 Kid, Evil Crush, the guns, and Bam Bam and Nails. Otherwise, I got them all.
Awesome.
Wow.
Love the Hasbros.
Yeah, but if you want to talk about not sensible collecting, those things are so expensive. I probably will never get a 1, 2, 3 Kid. I actually put a bid on one for eBay last night. It ends sometime, I think, this afternoon. There's no way it's going for $450.
My God.
That
and
was
is that
a
mint on card,
so
Mark?
Anybody is bidding on that now, and then they see this video later, know that you beat me.
Is that mint on card, or is that a Lucy?
I'm sorry. Oh, a Lucy.
That's a Lucy at $450.
Wow.
Those things right now up here are probably going for, on card, 1,000 to 1,200.
Yeah.
You know, bad condition, obviously worse, but loose. I see those regularly selling loose for 500 and 600. Yeah. So it's probably out of my price range.
Yeah, the 1, 2, 3 Kid has shot up, and also the Dusty Rhodes on card is a mini mortgage.
Oh yeah. I saw one at there's a huge toy show that happens every year up here in Chicago. And just this past year, I saw somebody selling it for literally $4,000.
Yeah.
At a show, and the guy said, "I'm way under market value." He's right.
Yeah, I've seen them on eBay for 5,000 and 6,000.
Unreal. But hey, I won't get to that level of collecting. There's a guy I know who I guess I did a favor for him. He's a huge collector overseas. His name's Mark Downer. If you guys don't know who he is, you should definitely get in contact with him if you want to see his collection, because Oof. But yeah, he's the type of guy that collects mock everything, and I wish I could afford that, but unfortunately, I think I need to own 50 barbershops, and I don't own one. So,
Well, if it's any use, I used to own a barbershop and I had to get rid of it because it was costing me money, man. So you don't want a barbershop, all right?
he had bad barbers.
Yeah. You ain't wrong.
You had bad barbers.
You ain't wrong.
Stealing from you, one of the two. But yeah.
Cool. Tell me, favorite Macho Man match?
I mean, do I want to say, with Steamboat? Everyone says with Steamboat, right?
Yeah.
I think for me, it was more the Mega Powers match. I remember being super excited about that as a little kid. But I don't know. I guess I'm sick. I like when Hogan turned on WCW and formed the NWO and gave the big leg to Macho twice in a row. Maybe that's my favorite Macho match. I think for me, Macho, I just like the overall character. Some of my more favorite matches are the Royal Rumble. That's the match that hooked me as a kid. That's the one when I went to the video store. We always got a free video when you rented a brand new release. So I was always run to the wrestling section and grab a Royal Rumble video.
So which is your favorite Royal Rumble?
So I actually conveniently put it on right now. This is actually, is that the Genius? Yes, it is.
Yeah.
Genius and
Brutus,
is that 91?
Yeah, I believe it's 91.
Yeah.
So
the purple banner hanging from the ceiling was the giveaway.
Yeah, and I actually saw somebody not too long ago who had that. That was selling that. A guy named Mark Bushman. Bushy. He's also a well-known collector. I think he sold a bunch of stuff to Cardona. So he's, yeah.
Nice.
Royal Rumble was a serious event, though, wasn't it? When you were younger. Even now, I would get as hyped, if not maybe more hyped, for the Rumble as I would for WrestleMania. And obviously now you've got two Rumbles because you've got the women's one, which for the last couple of years has been as good as the men's.
Yeah, absolutely.
I've been to a few wrestling pay-per-views. I live in Chicago or outside of Chicago, so like I'm super lucky when it comes to wrestling. Do I have you guys there?
Yeah.
Super lucky when it comes to wrestling. Especially right now with AEW. I don't know how you guys feel about that stuff. Amazing. I'm super lucky. I've always said if I ever pay a ridiculous amount of money to sit front row or as close as humanly possible, it will be the Royal Rumble. Although I came incredibly close to flying to Texas to see Money in the Bank. There was a third row ticket going for a pretty good price. I thought about it, but
what about the Second City Saint?
Oh, I love CM Punk. I am a Punk fan, although a lot of people aren't.
You hyped for the comeback?
Is he? Are you sure?
He's 100% coming back. He has to. He can't work the internet community this much.
Does he have to? But yeah, I think he's coming back too. Yeah. I don't think I'm going to that event. Yeah. I think somebody else is coming out that none of you expect. Or maybe none of you expect. But do you have an idea who I'm thinking might be coming out that same night that everyone thinks Punk's coming out?
Is it Mr. D. Bryan?
Oh no, we all know
he's coming out anyway. Yeah,
we all know he's going there.
So who are we?
Drop it on us, Mark. Who do you think?
All right, let's. I know I have at least one of them. So.
Oh, I like this. Oh, shots fired.
So I mean, this is according to the MMA world, which I don't pay attention to in the slightest. He's signed with the wrestling promotion.
Naturally, being a CM Punk fan, you wouldn't pay any attention to the MMA world.
So, but apparently, allegedly, he has signed with a wrestling company that is not WWE. So, is it AEW? Is it New Japan? Is it
if he's signed anywhere other than WWE, it has to be AEW. He's not going near Japan.
Yeah.
You know, I have to tell you though, there's a little. I'm like you. I'm a Punk fan, but I get like this horrible, sick feeling in my stomach when I think about Punk rocking up to an AEW ring. It really, really doesn't sit well with me at all. I'm just like, oh God, why would you do it to yourself after being out of the ring for so long to come back to an indie show?
But you know what it is? Mark's probably a CM Punk fan like myself, where he's following him right through Ring of Honor and everything. So, and he knows that most of Punk's best work was during those times in Ring of Honor and stuff like that, where he was.
And I mean, you can't argue with that, because this again. No, I've seen a lot of the stuff with Ring of Honor. I suppose for me, and you know me, like I'm like when they cut me open, I'll be WWE inside. I just like if AEW's on the back garden, I close the curtains. I'll be like, sorry boys, not tonight. So the thought of Punk showing up there is just like, what are you doing, man? But I felt the same way again with Sting as well, and you know, I don't know, it's a strange one.
Mark, tell us this.
I felt Sting coming out was like him coming home, you know? Or are you talking about Sting coming to WWE?
No, I felt like when he came to AEW, I was just like, you've just killed it, man.
I mean, I don't want him to wrestle. Nobody wants to see him die at this point, right? Yeah. But you know, I personally, I was like, oh, good, he's not in WWE. I liked Sting because he was like, yeah, I don't need to work for you guys. Fuck you. I'm gonna go to TNA and have nobody watch me.
You're so harsh. You're so harsh.
I have nothing, basically nothing Sting. But so we're talking about my collection real quick. One of the things that like for sure is with my collection, like there's a theme, is I like the weird shit. All right. I like, I don't necessarily, I do try to complete lines, but I like weird shit. I like the squirt heads, the squirt guns. I like the Ultimate Warrior and the Hulk Hogan Nightlight. Going back to they make Ultimate Warrior and Hogan things, but they don't make Macho Man things. These little weird nightlights. Oh, I got one more Hogan thing that I got to show you for sure. This is probably one of my favorites in the collection. I couldn't put it in this room, so it's in the entrance.
The light switch. It's so cool. Yeah, they did a Warrior one as well, didn't they? They didn't do a Macho one, sure they did as well.
Don't start this, Niall. Don't start this.
Warrior one?
Yeah, they did a Warrior one. I had a guy on Collector's Corner about 6 weeks ago, and he has the Hogan one and the Warrior one. Yeah.
Oh man, now you've done it. I didn't think there was. I thought they were like planning to make other ones, but thanks.
Mark,
I gotta look for that.
Mark, what's going to happen in 4 or 5 weeks if Cult of Personality hits and out walks Brock Lesnar? What's that Chicago crowd going to think?
That would be great. That would be great. I do think Punk's going there for sure. I don't know if he's going to debut when they think he's going to debut.
Yeah.
I think Lesnar's headed there.
Yeah.
So
It'd be interesting to see who they get to talk on the mic from.
Well, I mean, I don't know if you guys remember, he's a pretty good talker. I mean, Heyman just enhances everybody, right?
Yeah.
But he can talk.
The only thing he does worse than talk is wrestle. He's horrible on the mic, man.
He can yell.
Jesus.
He's
sure.
okay.
He can definitely yell.
Fair enough. But I mean, if you're Brock Lesnar, do you really need to do anything but stand there? People
But
are like,
just
look
show
at
up.
his
That's it.
arms. They hang down to his ankles.
Yeah.
Jesus.
If you're Brock Lesnar, you don't need to do anything. Only stay at home on the ranch with Sable and enjoy life.
Yeah, right.
What would you?
Sable, I just read that Sable turned 54.
Yeah.
God. She's old, but
what
wow.
would you give? What would you give? What one of your figures would you hand over to see Vince McMahon's face as Lesnar, Punk, and Daniel Bryan rock up to AEW? He must be.
I mean,
like,
at
even
this
the
point,
thought of
at
that,
this
he must
point,
have
if
seen
they've
it.
all signed, he knows, right? But would I have liked to have been in the room collectively? Yes. This whole facade that he's saying they're not competition is complete bullshit. So they're doing a lot really quickly. I love the releases that WWE is having and the potential of what AEW is now and could look like in the future. I think Bray's headed there. I'm blown away by the Bronson Reed.
Yeah.
I'm blown away that they dropped him. Didn't he just have a belt like 2 weeks ago?
Yeah, he won
North American champion.
He won that 4-way, didn't he, for a North American championship?
They gave him the big cast treatment. You know, hey, you're in a main event band with Daniel Bryan, and oh, hey, you're fired. So.
Yeah, I suppose our last question that we always ask: if you could spend an evening having dinner with any wrestler, who would it be? And I'm sure you've already answered it.
Yeah, Macho. I
can't imagine the experience.
If he would, for those alive.
Yeah.
I don't know why I like this guy so much. We haven't talked about it at all, but
hey,
good choice.
I know why you like the guy.
It wouldn't be.
Is he bringing the hose, baby?
It wouldn't be for the main course. It'd be for the dessert.
Do either of you follow that guy on social media?
He is crazy.
He's nuts.
Oh my God, he's the world's biggest pothead. It's hilarious. He might make more money off of like the weed venture now than wrestling. So he's a guy that seems to have good road stories. I really liked Papa Shango as a kid. And then, you know, as an adult or as I get into a little bit older, the Godfather shtick.
Yeah.
We had great.
We had Tom Fleming on the podcast a few weeks ago. He created the Papa Shango gimmick.
Oh, okay.
Back in the day, he created all the ring gear and all the skulls and the chain and all, and some great stories about it. How that chain, you know, the chain he used to wear with all the bones on it. He had a great story about how that chain came about. Unbelievable. Really, really good. Yeah. So yeah, it's been an absolute pleasure having you on. I mean, absolutely. Thanks for taking the time. I mean, it's an amazing collection, some real old school proper stuff there. And I like this because I like the unusual stuff. I don't like just all 8x10s and stuff. I like lunch tins, I like whistles, I like frisbees, all that kind of stuff. All that old cool stuff is really cool.
That's a cool set, actually. Mark showed that on the social media maybe last year. And I was like, I got to get myself a set of that. It's like hair pomade. But it comes in like a box.
Suavecito. They're a pretty well-known brand here.
It comes in a whole box. It's all displayed. And I was like, wow, I could do it walking around with some Macho Man pomade in my hair just to make me look even fucking cooler than I do.
Do you guys have that yet over there?
No.
The new
we don't get Legend Series over here. So what I do to get my Legend series is
he donates an organ.
I know what you do.
No, I buy. We get a lot of the collector's editions of the Elite. So like Kama and Zelina Vega and stuff like that. We got the new Colonel Mustafa coming out in a few weeks, so I will buy a heap of them and trade for them. That's our way to get the our way to get the Legends.
You guys are definitely at a disadvantage for some of the distribution. That's for sure.
We are, but something I will say is and I've sent a lot. You've probably seen the video I've sent. I've walked into our local toy store, Smith's. I get stuff there, and I would pick up bits there as well. And like they're amazingly stocked compared to the likes of Walmart, Target. We would have a massive selection of basics, elites, rings, belts. Like there's absolutely everything. Now there are certain lines that just we don't get, but if you can pick up enough of the other good stuff, you can kind of leverage yourself to get to what you're after,
Make finishers great again.
Where'd you
pick that up?
You know how many people would give me weird looks during like the shutdown? I got this this one guy, and he doesn't make content anymore, which kind of saddens me. He had an Instagram page. It still might be up. 1, 2, 3 pins. I think is his Instagram handle. I bought a lot of pins. My barber vest at work, I put a lot of wrestling pins on there. And yeah, so he made this, and I tell you, I wore it maybe like twice out in public. And I live in Chicago, and Chicago is a very blue state. In this country, and let's just say like a hat like this will get you looks not for a good reason.
Yeah. The vest you're talking about is a bulletproof vest, yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, it would have to be. Well, I live in Chicago. Everyone thinks I have to wear a bulletproof vest, anyways. But yeah, that one turned some heads. These things are super weird. I don't have one of them.
Scott Hall.
But just full of crud. Hey, I want to get a shout out to some creators that make some stuff.
Yes.
There's this guy named Blev's Magnets. He makes these cool Hasbro cards, right?
Yeah.
But they come with these magnets.
Awesome.
He's got tons of them. Hit him up. I think you can probably find him on Instagram or on the Facebook page, Blev Magnets. I know he's in a group that I'm in called The Era. I know he's been a well-known guy that's kind of known in America, but he creates these cool things. I actually think he just made magnets for the Major Figure podcast that are coming out soon. So give him a shout out. Maybe, I don't know if he ships internationally, but maybe you guys can get that. And then same thing, I bought these from a guy that makes stuff. These are shadow boxes that have like LED lights and certain things that looks 3D.
Yeah, they look really cool.
They're awesome.
Yeah, absolutely.
But just a few people that I don't know well, but I know in circles that make things. And if you're looking for people for custom cool additional collection stuff, you should look into those guys. Also, there's a guy named Darren Sedwich, which he's a European guy who makes custom 2-ups. I just purchased a custom Macho Man Series 1 2-up from him from the Hasbro line. And if you're a collector and you like cool, weird things, that's something to look into.
Yeah, absolutely. Sounds great. Well, listen, Mark, it's been an absolute pleasure having you on. And no doubt we'll get you on again. There's no doubt about it, as these collections grow and grow and grow. As always, head over to YouTube, Dynamo Podcast Network. This has been your Collector's Corner, all the way from the Windy City in Chicago with Mark Kostelny. Absolute pleasure. Till next time.
Thanks, guys. It
Cheers.
was fun.
Thanks, Mark.